Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwantner and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Andrea Grodnitzky. She is the Senior Vice President with Richardson. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe you can share with us, what are the steps to excellence in sales coaching?
Sure. So first of all, we distinguish sales coaching in sort of two major forms. There's evaluative coaching, right? You're going to evaluate somebody's performance, how their pipeline looks, generally associated with metrics, could be their yearly review, things like that. And then there's developmental coaching, which is really focused on helping a salesperson develop their skills. And we believe that that's the most powerful form of coaching, because that's really how you change behavior. So the steps are really around knowing what types of behaviors you want to see out of your salespeople, and then making sure that you are observing them in action, and then that you are having strong sales coaching dialogues. And what I mean by that is that we believe in asking before telling and using that kind of coaching dialogue, but that you're also then getting underneath the sort of facts about an opportunity, for example, and getting down to what are the either skill challenges or skill gaps that you can actually help improve throughout that coaching dialogue. And then you have to follow up, right? You have to continue to help that rep and continue to coach on that topic and limit your coaching to just a few things.
So now we have a roadmap. Let's drive. Mm-hmm. And you and I make a sales call. You're my manager, and we are back in the car mm-hmm. after a good sales call.
Yeah.
What do you say? What do you tell me?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to ask you. So I'm going to ask you how you thought that sales call went. It's a natural inclination. We've found that sales managers go right into telling. And even if they want to talk about what's developmental, they rush too fast to telling right. The rep, for example. So you want the rep to self-discover. Right. So I'm going to ask you.
So I thought we had a really good opening. Mm-hmm. We got well received. They gave us good answers to all the questions. Mm-hmm. And I'm really not sure whether there's anything that I could have improved.
Well, let me challenge you a little. There's absolutely nothing you felt like you could have done a little bit better?
Well, maybe I could have asked the question about who has the authority and who is making the decision mm-hmm. A little bit sooner, mm-hmm. because it wasn't really clear the way they introduced themselves. I listened to their titles, and I thought the highest level title has the authority for making the decision, but it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I agree with what you did well. I would also add that you had really great presence. I also agree that was probably an area for improvement, that you could have asked about that a little sooner. Why do you think, Gerhard, that you weren't able to find that out maybe ahead of time so that you had a better landscape of the meeting before you went in?
Well, I always try to size up the opportunity first, and I wanted to know what is the true dimension of the opportunity before mm-hmm. we talk about budget and authority.
Yep. So could you have asked your main contact maybe who the decision makers were prior to coming into this meeting so that you could have been better prepared, do you think?
Well, but usually that's the job of the demand gen person in the office.
Yeah, well, that's true. They do have some responsibility there. But what benefit do you think it could have brought to you had you maybe asked that question and taken that extra step to ask it of your contact?
Well, now that you make me aware, I could have asked that questions myself when I set the appointment.
Yeah. And what do you think that could have done for you?
That I have more clarity, and I would have spent more time with the real decision maker.
Yeah, I agree with that. So what can you commit to maybe doing differently next time?
Action item number 1. Ask that question.
Yep, great. So next time we have a call, let's prepare ahead of time, and let's make sure you have the answer to that question before we walk into the opportunity. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right. Good job, Gerhard.
Thank you. So it's that easy. What I'm getting from you now, to give you feedback on you coaching me, is that you get me to agree with your assessment of what the good parts are. Mm-hmm. So you get me to open up, and I feel pretty good because you recognize 2 or 3 things that I did right.
Sure.
And then you did not say, hey, Gerhard, you did something wrong here.
Right.
You asked me to articulate from my perception or perspective what I could have done.
Right. I mean, it's human nature, right? That if somebody's telling you what you've done wrong, it's a little harder to accept. You may shut down. If you're willing to offer it yourself, and people are generally self-aware. That doesn't mean that as a sales manager there aren't going to be times where you have to point something out. That's okay. But it's actually better to ask the person to let them self-assess, see if they can come up with it. They're going to come along for the ride then and be more willing, I think, to take your feedback and coaching. And it does open the door for me to maybe add something else. What you also could have done better is X, because you're now along with me and you're more willing to commit to the next steps as well. And notice that I asked you to articulate the next steps. That was on purpose because A, I want to make sure that you agree, you're with me, you're willing to do it, and B, that you're really aware of what we're talking about and what it is I'm trying to get you to do.
Yeah, and I think there's another layer, which is that you've created a foundation where you implicitly let me understand that I'm okay, and you're okay. And then we are in this thing together, and we want to improve collectively, and we want to collaborate around my improvement, and that there's nothing punitive about it.
That's right. That's the coach hat versus the manager hat. That's really being a coach.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being a good coach. For anybody who would like to get more information about the magic of coaching, go to richardson.com.